Hello, everyone. This is Gary Sheffer. I'm a trustee at the Hudson Area Library, and I'm also the chairman of the History Room Committee. We're very lucky at the library to have a history room where we have a collection, sort of a museum archive, if you will, of historic papers and documents and photos of Hudson and the surrounding area. And we're also lucky to have Mary OToole helping us archive all of that. And we want to talk today about a very specific collection that we received last year, I believe, Marie, right?
Yes,
2019, and
absolutely.
you've been working on.
Yes.
So our guest today on the History Room on Zoom is Mary OToole. Welcome, Marie.
Thank you, Gary. Hi, everyone. So, as Gary said, my name is Mary OToole. I am originally from Paris, in France, and I live in Hudson since 2013. So, I am graduate in history and I hold a master in archival studies. And before coming in USA, I used to work in as archivist for a major company in Paris.
Oh, interesting, interesting. And so how did you get interested in being an archivist, Marie? That's a very specific sort of field of study.
Yes, actually, I always like history. So, and when I was in France, I used to go to with my parents in different institutions, museums, or this kind of institution. So, and I really like history. So I decided to pursue my studies in history, and I had a master in history. So
Wow.
everything in university in Paris.
Oh, terrific, terrific. Now, so as I said, we're lucky to have you at the History Room. How did you come to Hudson, and how did you become connected with the library's History Room?
Well, I was not planning to come to Hudson, but you know how life is surprising.
Yes, yes.
So I met my husband, Jason. I have a common friend. We have common friends here, and one summer I came and I met him, and my life changed. So we start to get married, and I came here.
Terrific, terrific. And so now you're using your education and your skills with the History Room, which that's terrific.
I do. So when I came here, I say to myself, oh, I have to knock at the door at the library, tell them, hello, my name is Mary OToole. I'm archivist. If you need me, I can do anything. So Emily was really amazing. So she accepted me as a volunteer. So I start to be involved at the library as volunteer, working on different archival projects. And so I
That's
start like this.
terrific. And so we're going to talk today specifically about one project you've been working on, which is very topical as we're in the middle of this COVID-19
Absolutely.
crisis pandemic. And that's a donation of papers from the Columbia Memorial Hospital. It's had several names in its history, but Columbia Memorial Hospital School of Nursing.
Absolutely, Gary.
So,
Yeah.
so this is a great collection of papers, photographs, other things, which you're going to tell us about. How did we come to get this collection of papers from the nursing school?
So the lady, we received this material in September 2019. So the donor is a resident from Columbia County, and the mother of the donor, I can say her name, right, Mrs.
Yes, Mrs. Owasik, Marilyn Owasik.
Ewasik,
Yeah,
absolutely, collect the material over 30 years. So it's really awesome.
and her daughter was Nancy Delamater was the
Delamater.
donor.
So
Yeah, we want to thank
absolutely,
her. Yeah.
absolutely. And so, and Missy Delamater gave me some information about her mother. So I would like to share with you if you're okay.
Okay, sure. Yes.
So Mrs. Ewasik, after her graduation in 1951 at the Columbia Memorial Hospital School of Nursing, let's say CMH, I think it's for
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Mrs. Ewasik began her career in nursing as a supervisor of central supply and later as medical historian at CMH. So we can see through the collection how Mrs. Ewasik was really dedicated by collecting the different documents over many years. So I would say thank you, Mrs. Ewazik, for the wonderful work.
Terrific.
Oh, yes. Really.
So what's in the collection, Marie? What kind of documents do we have?
So we have different documents. We have publications, of course. So when I say publication, we have programs, invitations. We have enrollment brochure, newspaper. We have a scrapbook. We have so many, and among them we have 10 yearbooks.
Okay.
10
From
yearbooks.
like yearbooks like you would get from a high school, right? From a graduation, from who graduated that year, that kind of thing?
Absolutely, the yearbook from the School of Nursing.
Oh, great.
Yes, and we have 10 yearbooks from 1966 to 1975 and 1978 to 1979.
Wow. So the School of Nursing goes back, Marie, right to the beginning of the early 1900s.
Yes, 1925. Actually, the collection, the first document we have a date from 1925, and the last one 1996.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's just one document. But the real period is 1925 to 80s, the beginning of the 80s.
Okay.
So.
And I was curious. I saw one thing listed in the papers. I haven't had a chance to look at. It's called the White Cap. Is
Yes.
that like a newsletter for the school?
It was more, I would say it was more a magazine, specialized magazine for the nurses. Yes, a White Cap. Yes.
Okay, terrific. And this, Marie, the school itself was located in several houses. There were donations of houses over the years, but most prominently, what became known as the Cavell House, right,
Absolutely.
which is next to the hospital there.
Absolutely. So yes, in I think it was in, I'm sorry, I don't have if you don't mind, I have the document here.
This is a very informal show.
Yeah. This is a really informal show. Yes, absolutely. But so yes, it was purchased in 1918, the house.
Okay.
So actually, if I can say something about the history of.
Yes, please.
The School of Nursing. So we know that the Hudson City Hospital moved into its new home in May 9th, 1900.
Okay.
And in June of that year, the board of the training school for nurses committee was appointed, and the organization of a training school officially opened. So the first graduation took place in 1903.
Wow.
Yes. So, and to answer your question, so at this time, Professor Smoke gave his residence to the hospital. So, and it became the Cavell House.
Okay.
So it was in 1918.
Okay. And that was added on to over the years. It became the Edith Cavell House, right?
Absolutely.
And she was a famous nurse, right? I remember in the war or in the First War. Yeah.
Absolutely. She was actually she was a famous nurse, and English nurse. And she was executed in 1915 for helping some 200 British, French, and Belgian soldiers escape from German occupied Belgium. So there is a really interesting story behind this tragedy.
Right.
So after execution, back in this time, there is a mediatic turmoil. So years later, they pay a tribute to Edith Cavell. So I think it was a really
appropriate name. Yeah.
Appropriate name for the nursing school.
Terrific. Now, the nursing school itself, am I right, Marie? It doesn't exist anymore, right? The nursing school. How does CMH get its nurses today? I guess is what I'm asking.
So today, I would say the nursing school with its original configuration doesn't exist today.
Right, right.
So it was active until the 80s, and at this time, the State Department of Health, CMH, and Greene County Community Hospital merged into a single institution called Columbia Greene Medical Center.
Okay.
today, if we would say we have just the Cavell House, but it's not anymore the School of Nursing.
I gotcha. Okay. Okay. So let me ask you just a couple more questions. So what do you do as an archivist, Marie? What do you do when you get all these different types of documents and books? There's a guest book, I think, one of the part of the papers. What do you do with it? How do you make sure it's marked and preserved and available to the public? What does an archivist do?
So I would say at the library of an archivist, so I would say that my job consists to be in charge, as you say, of caring for those materials, try to preserve them for use today and for future generations of researchers.
Right.
So the second part of my job, so for example, when I receive this material, I check everything. So I take out very with care every material, every guest book, every photograph with gloves, and I try to, it's like an inspector. Try to see how the document is damaged or not damaged, and you check, you take out the clip papers and everything, the scotch, the paper scotch, the paper taping, I'm sorry, it's French.
Yeah.
So everything can damage the document.
Sure.
Really. As I said, what is important is to preserve these documents for the public, for the future generation. So, and after I just take them in appropriate, housing them in appropriate material.
Okay. And so now, Marie, after you've done that, once the library, of course, reopens to visitors, to our patrons, people can come in to the history room and ask to see. There's a list of these documents now, and people can ask to inspect them.
Absolutely. This is what I want to say also. What part of my job is, it's a little bit, can be a little bit technical, I admit, but it's important to mention. So when I have this document, I just establish an intellectual control through the arrangement and description process over the information content that I can find in the archives. I know it's technical, but in other words, I organize and describe the material, the raw material, according to archival standards or archival rules, and the result, I just create what we can be different shape, but I create a finding aid.
Okay.
And this finding aid, I'm sorry to be
no, that's very interesting.
But finding aid is a tool where the public can locate the information of each collection. So for this collection, like any other one, so the public can go to the website of the library, and in the history room you have resources, and you can find the different tools where they can find the information. So
that's great. So we've digitized these documents. Can you digitize, and so it's available on our website, can you digitize things like the yearbooks as well?
We do. We can do. Concerning this collection, I just finished processing it. So it might be in the future a project. But right now we have the finding aid available to anyone.
Okay, so we will digitize these eventually and make them
eventually,
available.
Yes.
Okay.
Not my decision, but yes.
Well, I'm making the decision. There we go. We're going to digitize.
Absolutely.
Them. There we go. So we store these in we have to have certain conditions in the history room. Temperature, humidity, all of these other things to make sure that we preserve these documents as well in the right way. Terrific.
Absolutely, yes. We have, and also in the archival room where we collect all the archives, everything is in temperature norms, so everything is fine.
Terrific, terrific. Now, I want to ask you, get back to the collection itself. Is there anything as you go through these, you're handling them with such care and inspecting them, and was there anything in this collection from the School of Nursing that stood out to you as interesting?
Yes, indeed. For me, I think the strength of this collection resides in the photographic material.
Okay.
We have really interesting source of photographs. It's about the activities during that period of time. So so it gives an overview of the practical activities of the nursing students, such as classroom instruction, life of nursing students, and the graduating ceremony known as the capping ceremony.
Okay.
And also, I like there is a photograph of the board of members, medical instructor, as well as administration staff. So, and I would say that I want to add that these photographic materials can be a tribute to the local photographers, such as Howard Gibson.
Oh, right, right,
Yes.
exactly. Howard Gibson, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Roy's Studio, or Janie and Wendy Nifus, who took those moments.
Oh, terrific. That's good to know. That's excellent. All amazing collections
Oh
of
yes, really,
historical photographs of this area, just and the people. That's great.
absolutely.
That's terrific. Well, this has been really, really interesting. Thank you, Marie, for all your good work with the library, but also
Thank you.
thank you for your work on this collection. And as I say, it couldn't be more topical than now. We've all learned how important nurses are
And,
over the past few months.
and if I can add something, Gary, I think absolutely that this collection has a resonance in this particular present period of pandemic. And in certain way, the Hudson Library pays tribute through the collection to the health worker of the past, present, and for the future generation.
Terrific. Great, great way to put it. And we also want to thank, by the way, Mrs. Owasik, Marilyn Owasik, and Nancy Delmater
Absolutely.
for making the donation. And we really, this is what we do at the History Room. We love to collect, preserve in the right way, and make it available to the community. That's our mission.
Absolutely.
And we can't do it without people like you, experts like you, Marie. So thank you very much for your work, and thank you for being on the History Room on Zoom.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Okay, Marie, thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Marie, we're still here. I just